Unleash your potential. Unleash your potential, reach for the stars, electric dreams align, show them who you are, unleash your potential. Yo, 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 let's go. 1, 2, 3, unleash and grow. Embrace the vibe, set it free, your potential unlocked, just believe. Psychedelic journeys, hearts aligned, step into the future, greatness redefined. Unleash your potential, set your dreams free. In a world of stars, become who you want to be. Stand tall in the storm, embrace the rain, ride the wave of success, break every chain.
Welcome to the Expanding Your Energy Field Activation.
Unleash your potential. Yo, 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 let's go. 1, 2, 3, unleash and grow. Embrace the vibe, set it free. Your potential unlocked, just believe. Unleash your potential. Unleash your potential, reach for the stars, electric dreams align, show them who you are, unleash your potential.
Good morning, everyone.
Unleash and grow. Embrace the vibe, set it free, your potential.
Good morning, everyone. I'm excited that you join us this morning for King's FM 88.5 Weekend Motivational Talk. Unleash your potential. Yes, let's unleash our potential. It's because we've got it, so we must unleash it. If we can, then we have ourselves to blame, nobody else. We can blame our God. We can blame anyone. Neither can we blame the devil. No, shift no blame on the devil. Everything is yours. Everything is in you. You got the potential. It's only for you to unleash. Today is Saturday, the 6th of December 2025. We are inspired by your presence with us this morning. Thank you so very much. I'm Sam Andrews. Let's do a short recap as usual, and then we get into our lecture for today. Last week, our motivation was boldness, unlock the future. Wasn't it? Yes. That was our focus. Boldness, unlock the future. That was last week's lecture. Boldness, unlock the future. Boldness, unlock the future was our emphasis or lecture for last week. So, a short recap of that, then we get started. We talk about the etymology or the history or the meaning of the word, that it is used most often everywhere, in every place, by everybody, based on their understanding. And come to think about it, if you do a simple survey of how people use the word, you'll see everybody floats in one direction. Boldness, boldness. It is, we going in this direction. This person say, I'm bold. This other person says, I'm bold. This person comes to with the same, I'm bold. So everybody, almost everybody understands the word in a given context. But the word is not as it is with the understanding of most people. Often people mistake being aggressive for boldness or being bold. There is a wider difference between the two. Aggressiveness means hostile or violent behavior. Boldness means willingness to take risks and act innovatively. It also means courage or confident. Often people will tread the path of aggressiveness for boldness. Look at society, look at events around you, look at how people react to situations and people, and they will use the biblical inscription, or God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of boldness and sound mind. So their understanding is, when you speak to a person aggressively, then you are being bold. Or when you take action that favors you, whether emotional or temper tantrum, and then you are being bold. And you hear voice or voices from the other side, you need not take that from that person. You have to respond, and respond readily. And that person is motivated to come out and say some things to the situation or that person, and they conclude that it was being bold. At the close of the day, you hear the person gets the praise and say, yes, my man, you are bold, you are very bold. But no, that is not the right usage or context of the word and the true sense of the word boldness by its etymology. Boldness means willingness to take risks and act innovatively. And we talk about some of the tips. We share some tips with you actualizing boldness. Step aside your comfort zone, develop a belief in your ability, see failure as a challenge and a learning opportunity, understanding your fears, which eventually stirs up boldness for your action, that intentionally take on new challenges and embrace unfamiliar experiences to make a courage habit. Focus on what you are good at and do it always, all of the time, every time. That believe in your ability lead you to success. When you believe in your ability, it leads you to success. Boldness goes with risk taking. And we saw some individuals last week who were very bold, meaning they took risks, they were courageous, they were confident, they took into consideration everything, the future, they took into consideration the ramifications of the aftermath of their decision, meaning boldness, risks, and they embark on it, that boldness involves encountering failure. Boldness involves encountering failure, but not as dead. No, it's not the end in itself, but rather a motivation to keep attempting until satisfactory answer is found. That you should stop worrying about what others think about you, stop worrying about what others think about you, and focus on being authentic to yourself. At this point, I should pause and tell you that this is rare in our culture. Many people will shift blame and use others as excuse or justification for not acting, not excelling, and society should empathize and sympathize with them because they've shifted blame, they lay excuse or excuses, and they use those as justification. Until you can stop thinking about other people, fixing other people in your mind, that they are thinking about you, they are focusing on you, and if you did days, they're going to be critical of you, and that's going to be demeaning, and so you resign. So not being ready to take the breaks, you have defeated yourself right there, because you have within yourself, the intense of feeling has become so intense, and at the close of the day, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Stop worrying about what others think of you and focus on being authentic to yourself. Only when you are authentic to yourself, you believe in yourself, you have a clear plan, a clear roadmap for yourself, and you analyze it well and ready to go, so will you succeed. See challenges, we said from last week, as opportunities. See challenges as opportunities to improve rather as threats or setback. Every challenge that comes your way, you need not get jitter. You need not get yourself confused. Week before the last, we saw a character which we couldn't have used that was best suited for that lecture, and we did use that character. She had a very, very unprecedented problem, but she wasn't jitter. She didn't wrestle within herself, against herself. She didn't go crying all over the place. She didn't go explaining it to every friend that she came across and making the entire community to know her problem. But she composed herself, thought well, didn't want to know what people were thinking about her, but how she needed to come out of such a situation. She was authentic to herself, and in that period, she figured out something, and that was realistic. And she took it to the expert friend, and the expert friend gave her a piece of advice. The emphasis with this one from week before the last, as she sat before the expert, she never interrupted the expert as he was explaining or providing solutions. She kept her quiet. She focused on not his body posture, but what was coming from his mouth. Scientific as it was, she took everything and implemented just how it was given, and she solved that problem. She was authentic to herself. She used the challenge that she has, she saw it as an opportunity. When you got a problem, don't worry about it. It is against that backdrop that God said, let's put it this way. If you got a problem and you are on earth, you're worrying about it, tell me whether that problem can increase your stature, whether the problem has the ability, it got the potential to increase your stature. When he rhetorically, not rhetorical question, but a straitjacket question, when he asks, can the many worries add a single hour to your stature? Meaning, can it make you long just as I am sitting and worrying? Those of you who are following me on the screen, he asks, can St. Andrew's worry increase his stature? Meaning, can it create and take him all the way to the ceiling of the room he's sitting in? No, because worry does not have the potential to do anything. If it does have the potential, you give worry that potential, and the outcome is you're going to experience more terrible situation, and that could lead to something else. It could lead to illness. It could lead about a psychological illness. It could lead to a physical deficiency. Society has that. At the close of the day, you are affected. So see challenge or challenges as opportunities. What that means is they are real opportunities for you to sit back, take a deep breath, begin to think how you should get out. Worry has never helped anybody on earth, and it is not going to help anybody. Don't ever worry. It's hard from a human perspective, but it got no solution. And then from last week's lecture, we also provided it that another way you can succeed with boldness is this: don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait for a perfect plan. If you will ever wait for a perfect plan, you will not move. Just like the late civil rights activist Malcolm X said, if you develop a sit-down attitude with your plan, wanting it to be perfect, you're going to have the result of that. Don't wait for a perfect plan before you can start. Trust your boldness and take inspired decision. Trust your boldness and take inspired decision. And then, as we conclude on this recap, role model impact. Role model impact. Surround yourself, we said, with positive influencers. Surround yourself with positive influencers. Look for role models who exemplify boldness and learn from their stories and actions. Connect with a larger purpose, and it will inspire you to be bolder. With that recap, let's get into our lecture for today. Slaying the giant of failure. Slaying the giant of failure. Thank you again for joining in King's 88.5 Weekend Motivational Talk. Unleash your potential. This morning's lecture, slaying the giant of failure. Slaying the giant of failure. Before last week, the week then, we talked about overcoming fear. And then last week, boldness unlock your future. These are essential elements in our existential factor of life. Until you can know these simple but with debilitating effect, you will always shout, scream, cry, yell, and you wouldn't have solution to a problem. But if you are aware of these factors and you can develop a thinking mind, you can live a life and you can be an expert or help to someone else. This morning, slaying the giant of failure. Slaying the giant of failure. This morning, as every Saturday lecture, is to learn how failure can be made a stepping stone to success. Failure can be made a stepping stone to success. Failure can be made a stepping stone to success. There is the wall of difference between those two or these two expressions. Have you heard those two expressions? Yes, you have. These two expressions, here they are. You are a failure and you fail. The former speaks to our character, the latter to one specific event in life. Just because you fail one or many times, it does not mean you have been disqualified from the race to succeed. Stick it in your mind. Just because you fail one or many times, it does not mean you have been disqualified from the race to succeed. It only means you have to get yourself motivated. Just in the recap, we said challenges are not failures in themselves, but they are opportunities. You see every challenge as an opportunity. Just because you drop the first, it doesn't say you should remain. When you drop the first, you wake up. You drop the second, you wake up. You drop the third, you wake up. You drop the fourth, you wake up. As many times you drop, as many times you wake up. Because you got the potential, and the potential starts from here called the mentor. So if you fail one or many times, don't get discouraged. Don't remain there. It doesn't mean that you have been disqualified from the race to succeed. It only means you are a good candidate to succeed. But that candidature is based on yourself. Let me share with you few categories, and that will be doing it for today. The first category is face reality of failure. That's the first category. Face reality of failure. Face the reality of failure. Face the reality of failure. That is the first of four categories. The first thing to put on mentally is failure is natural aspect. Failure is natural aspect of human existence. Put that in your mind. Failure is natural aspect of human existence. 2, it is not a plan of anyone. Failure is not a plan for anyone. No one plans to fail. No one plans for death. No one plans for setback. No one plans for anything undesirable in life. Certainly not. Everyone loves good life, good things, good movement, and all of the goods. But failure is a natural aspect of our existence. Don't forget that as you go about your day's activity. It is not a plan. No one plans for it. If you plan for failure, well, then you are that mystery character from another planet. But every normal being don't plan for failure, not at all. But failure becomes the reality when it is not thinking carefully with what he or she has to embark on or undertake. Then it becomes a reality. The fact of failure is factored in our humanity. The fact of failure, meaning it's real, it's part of our existence. It's part of our existence. It is the reality of yesterday and today that many people who succeeded had a string of failures in their past and present. Though hard pressed by conditions, then they had to face the challenges. They were hard pressed, confused, but were never defeated by failure. That means they never gave place to failure. This life, this country, this culture of ours, the world's culture is replete with people who had string of failures up and downs, but they never gave in or gave up. Yet they press on, though they were hard pressed by those challenges, those setbacks, but they never gave in, neither were they defeated by failure, but overcame failure. The next category is face the reason for failure. Face the reason for failure. The first category we just look at, face the reality of failure. Face the reality of failure. Failure is part of our humanity. It's part of our existence. It comes, no one plans for it, no one prays for it. It comes suddenly, it comes accidental. Why? Because it is part of our humanity, it is part of our existence. Hence, we got to face the reality of it. Facing the reality means we have all of the options to overcome it. We face it, we slay it. It can never be the giant against us to keep us back. The second category, face the reason for failure. Face the reason for failure. Sometimes when you are being confronted by one failure to another, no doubt you are tempted to ask yourself in a spiritual context, why does God allow failure in my life? Why will God allow this? I can understand my life from one failure to another, from one setback to another. It looks like God has turned his back on me. Nobody can even help me out. But what good does that bring? It doesn't. Under this category of face the reality of failure, here are 4 reasons for failure why you must face it. 1, we fail now. We fail now so that we might succeed later. We fail now so we might succeed later. Watch my words carefully. I did not say you will succeed later. I said might. Just as Paul said that you may be able to overcome the wiles of the devil. Because I do not know your situation, so I cannot be definitive. You know your situation. You know what you are in, so you can be definitive with it. Since I don't know, then common sense will tell me to insert or use the word might. One, we fail now so that we might succeed later. We fail now so we might succeed later. We have those setbacks and we try the best we can by our innovation, boldness, meaning risk taking, so that we overcome failure. And when we overcome failure, what is before us? Success. Some people would say it this way: it was good that this thing happened to me early. Or it was good that it happened to us early. At least now we know how to move forward. Well, I don't know whether that is right, but that's what they say. And they say it because they in such situation. So within themselves and situationally, they are right because they experience, they learn the hard way. The hard way give them a good perspective of life, so they know how to move forward now. Failure is for now. Failure is for now. Success is for the future. That is why when you are encountering problem now, don't get jaded. Don't get uncomfortable within yourself. Don't wrestle within yourself. Neither must you be worrying and crying and complaining and sometimes taking it to people. It only means it is the bridge to success, but you are that bridge, meaning you will have to think hard to get out. Think out a solution, and then success is before you. Failure is for now. Success is for the future. But you will not experience that success when you have made failure a part of your life. Meaning, you think about it, you see it as the giant, and you cannot slay it because you feel that you do not have the ability to slay it. So you resign to accepting it that it lives with you. It becomes your giant. It blindfolds you of the future, and you will just be revolving instead of expanding, because life is for expansion. Life isn't for revolving. Revolving means you're turning around the same place. Expansion means you have left from this place to another. Success is for those who face the reason and reality of failure and can overcome. Success is for those who face the reason and reality of failure. Did you get it? Success is for those who face the reason and reality of failure and can overcome. When you can face the reason of reality, meaning it is part of our existence, it is part of humanity, it is natural, but it is avoidable, it is correctable. And the reality of it, when you are exposed, then you can overcome it. And when you overcome it, what do you have? Success. The second point under face the reason for failure. We fail in the accidental so that we might succeed in the important. We fail in the accidental so that we might succeed in the important. Things are liable to happen, no doubt. You know that very well. Then I think I know as a consequence, but don't see them as absolute failure that you should give up on life. Things happen accidentally. Nobody prays Nobody plans for accident. It occurs. You can have a very good plan from your house, for your business, for your community organization, for your office, and then suddenly there's this accident. There's the crack of the plan. There's a setback of the plan. Now, you didn't plan it. You didn't hope for it. It came unknown to you. Don't see it as absolute failure. You hear some people say, oh, after we have done all this with the good plan we had in place, look at what has happened now. I don't think I can continue with this. I'm leaving it and giving up. What time I will take now to put all these things together again? Look at this as a setback. I'm tired. I can't make it. And truly believe it. So what happened right there? They have activated failure, and the failure becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. That which was accidental, you didn't plan, but it happened. You can overcome it. We fail in the accidental so that we might succeed in the important. When you overcome the accident, then what's going to happen? It's not going to happen again because you will have gained an understanding. So what will be before you is a guided success. There's a pointer under the caption, face the reason for failure. We fail in the temporary so we might succeed when we don't give up completely. We fail in the temporary so we might succeed when we don't give up completely. We fail in the temporary. The key word there is temporary, which means not permanent, just like accident or incident. We fail in the temporary so we might succeed when we don't give up completely. Our failures prepare us for success. Our failure prepares us for success. Note this, failure is not the end of your life. Setback, not the end of your life, but a challenge to keep pressing, and success will eventually come. Failure prepares us, prepare you for success. Failure is not the end of your life. Failure cannot end your life, but you can use failure to keep you retrogressing in life. Failure is just as infinitesimal, but you can make it important. When you see it as important, you see it as that giant that you cannot overcome, and you will definitely be that person. Failure is not the end of your life. Don't ever romanticize failure. Don't flirt with failure. Don't give failure the urge. Don't give or attach human characteristics to failure that it can overcome you. It is just an element within the existential component of life. You may have everything as imputed by God to overcome failure. When you allow failure to overcome you, it means that you nurture it, you experimented it, and then what happens? It becomes the giant, and you cannot overcome it. It is against that backdrop that we coin the lecture for today, Slaying the Giant of Failure. The fourth, under the caption, face the reason for failure. We fail outwardly so that we might succeed inwardly. It's as simple to understand. There is the inward success, which ultimately brings out what was planned in mind to overcome failure and achieve success. And then everybody going to see. People don't talk about what is in you. They talk about the outward, meaning what comes out. What did Jesus say to that? I may not be biblically scientific with that, but it has a semblance with this. He said, it is not what that goes into the person. Now, you want to put it in a reverse context. So if something goes in a person, no one knows, only that person knows. And then he said, but what comes out? Referencing the outward, that people see the outward. That's when people look at you and say, oh, Rita Christine Hates, you are successful. Yasa Sharif, you are successful. It's because they are saying this. They say, oh, Francis Jusu, you have taken your business from this level to another. Why? Just yesterday, it was small. But look now, you have expanded it. What they are referring to is what they're saying. No one talks about what is in you because they can see it. That is the inward. And success starts from within. It comes out and people see. Failure helps us do well for the future. Failure helps us do well for the future. I am not telling you to resign to failure. I am only giving you the various tips of how you can slay the giant of failure. Failure helps us do well for the future. It is a challenge, or see it as a challenge, a motivation, because you got the weapon, you got the arsenal to slay it. What is that, Sam Andrews? The potential in you of secularism into spirituality. What did God say? He said, unleash it. Everybody who had or who faced life and had challenges, setbacks, failures, they had to face it. They had to slay those giants. God did not need to get involved, and he did not get involved. Why he did not get involved? Because he gave everything to everybody on earth. Paul had many failures, but it didn't break him down. It didn't discourage him, but rather he saw them as motivation to move forward. Jesus, and get out of the Bible. Look at people around you today. There are several. They have failures. But what happened? It helps them to do well in the future. It is better to fail in a course that will ultimately succeed than to succeed in a course that will ultimately fail. Good rhyme, eh? At least I rhyme well, right? It is better to fail in a course that will ultimately succeed than to succeed in a course that will ultimately fail. Let's go home this way with the two last captions or categories. The fourth caption or category is face the result of failure. Face the result of failure. The first category or caption, face the reality of failure. Face the reality of failure. The second category, face the reason for failure. The third category, face the result of failure. Face the result of failure. Listen carefully. What I'm about to say, not different from what we've already talked about, but this could be more than motivation for you. Failure is not fun. Failure is not fun. Face the result of it. Failure is not fun. What that means is, don't overlook failure. Don't romanticize with it. Don't flirt with it. Don't play love affair with failure. If you ever did, not taking it serious, you are doomed. Failure is not fun. Whatever in your life, academic, business, relationship, traveling, whatever the situation in life, never take failure as a fun. When it occurs, face it and slay it. Don't reserve failure. Don't reserve failure. That this is the situation, I will look at it later. Everyone who reserve or preserve failure got terribly affected by the very failure that became a giant and they could not slay it. Don't reserve and preserve failure. Failure is not a fun. See it as being serious or a serious thing, and you face the result of it. Failure is painful. Failure is painful and discouraging when it happens. But here is the way out. Face the result of it. Failure is painful. Failure isn't something of joy, isn't something that you take joy in. It is not something that you go partying with. It's not something that you in your house and romanticize with it. No. Failure is a giant, a setback. You don't want that. It is painful. No one rejoices in failure. No one prays for failure. No one prophesies failure. No one plans for failure because it is painful. It is discouraging. But when it happens, face the reality of it. And here is the last category, the fourth and last category, and then we're out for today on King's 88.5 Weekend Motivational Talk. Unleash your potential. The fourth and last category, fighting the giant of failure. Fighting the giant of failure. The first category, face the reality of failure. The second category, face the reason for failure. The third category, face the reality, face the result of failure. And the fourth and last category, and then we zoom out on today's lecture to get ready for next week, fighting the giant of failure. Fighting the giant of failure. Fighting. So what I mean, fighting the giant of failure, or fight the giant of failure. Overcoming failure and profiting from it begins with you. Emilia Delaney, it begins with you. It begins with you, Yasa. It begins with you, Rita. It begins with you, Mohammed. It begins with me, Semanjus. Don't hesitate to admit your failure. Don't hesitate to admit your failure. And don't shift blame. Don't shift blame loosely. That means you're just talking to yourself. Oh, what is this? And it's because of this. And no. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. Overcome failure and profit from it, or profiting from it, begins with you. Don't hesitate to admit your failure. When you have falter, which is unto everybody, sit down, do a careful, sustained, uninterrupted analysis of yourself. And you would soon get a clue or understanding that this happened because I thought this way, and so I didn't act that way, that I have this situation. With the discovery of the problem now, or the discovery of this failure, I am now going to do this. Often, people use others as a convenient excuse when they have faltered mentally. Instead of doing a soul searching, they immediately shift, lose, blame, look for people to put that on. You find that everywhere, in the office, in relationship, in the academic setting, in community organization, national organization, just everywhere. No one will want to do a soul searching and accept the responsibility of a fail. And this is even real in relationships. Now, don't hold me responsible. It's just my observation. It doesn't say you don't find it in other areas, but my observation has given me this understanding. You find most women and men not wanting to accept their failure. You hear the lady justifying, even if the relationship is cracking, and she knows that she did something that the man find undesirable and uncomfortable, but she will look for something within that realm as justification. Equally, you see the same of the men. And then what happens? You see the relationship starts to crack, and eventually breaks. You hardly hear a lady saying, I take full responsibility for this. This failure is because of my mental mismatch. Please, I accept, I take full responsibility, and this is how I am going to overcome this failure. The same way, you hardly hear the man say, I take responsibility for this failure that we have in the relationship. Please accept my apology. Going forward, this is what I'm going to do, and we will not experience this failure. We will overcome it this way, and this is what I'm going to do. My observation of society and people have given me an understanding which lead me to do these scriptings. Don't hesitate to admit your failure. It's not a crime, not a violation. You're not going to be pushed. You're not going to be taken to jail. No, it just means that you are a right thinking person. If you admit whatever the situation in your office, your boss get to respect you the more. He doesn't disrespect you. He respects you. He sees you as a thinking person because it helps the institution. If you in a relationship and you admit, it doesn't discourage the man, it doesn't discourage the woman. It only means both parties get to know that they are thinking being and they can jointly overcome the problem. Don't be that justifying person. When there is a failure, don't look for blame. Don't shed blame. Don't look for something to put it on. Don't look for anybody to put it on. No. You have the situation now before you. And so you ask yourself, what do I do? What do we need to do to overcome this failure? Don't hesitate to admit your failure. Please. Don't be afraid to admit when you fail. Don't be afraid to admit when you fail. Don't nurture failure. Don't nurse failure. Nurturing is developing. Nursing is playing with it. Don't rehearse failure. Don't nurture failure. Don't nurse failure. Don't rehearse failure. Just as when you're in a place and things are upside down or something has happened to you, and we are told, don't nurse your anger, don't reverse your anger, don't do any one of those things. The same way with failure. Don't nurse failure. Don't rehearse failure. Don't cut with failure. Failure is the highway to success. Failure is the highway to success. Highway. Highway. Highway to success. Study your failure, if any. That's what you have before you study it. Don't avoid it. Study your failure. Examine yourself. Take a careful look of the situation, and you will have solution coming your way because you will have identified the failure. When you do, you will discover what you are doing wrong, which will then lead you to think carefully when you evaluate the situation. This is how we go home. These few words. Failure is an event. Failure is an event, not a person. Failure is an event, not a person. Failure is something that happens. Failure is something that happens, not someone you become. Failure is something that happens, not someone you become. It is against this backdrop that I inserted in my introduction the difference, the wall of difference between these two expressions. You are a failure and you fail. Some people resign to the fact that they are failure in life, and they trumpet it. They go prophesying it to people. They say it with that aggressiveness because that is not boldness. Oh, I feel I'll just accept it. I just accept it, that life, every failure just coming my way. I don't know what I do. It look like God said there with me. So I will just accept it now. Whatever happen, let it happen. So they take on that posture of failure and become failure. But failure is an event. It's not a person. Failure is something that happens, not someone you become. You can become a failure. Don't try to become a failure. You were never made a failure. You are not a failure, neither do you have characteristics of failure. Failure is an event. Failure is accident. Failure is incident. And everything unto you to overcome. Don't ever use, people, as we go home, don't ever use this cliche or statement on yourself in life, which I just talked about. I am a failure. Don't use it. Don't use it. What the biblical people will say, life and death lies in the power of the tongue. I don't know whether it is the same with this expression, I am a failure, but I think it has resemblance or semblance. If you ever think that way, that you are a failure, then failure becomes the person, and you are the failure. And don't dare shift blame on anyone. Don't ever say to yourself, I am a failure. Failure is an event. Failure is something that happens. Failure is not a person. That's it for this morning's and this week's lecture, Kings 88.5 Motivational Talk. Unleash your potential. Thank you for being with us this morning. We are inspired by your presence. We got another lecture coming up on next week, Saturday. Please join us for that. As you go about your business, whatever the activity you got in life, don't resign to failure when failure occurred. No, don't resign to failure. Don't hesitate to slay the giant of failure, because you got the potential, you got the weapon, you got the arsenal that you can open to overcome it. You got everything. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm inspired by your presence. We can thank you the more. If God permits, we're back next week for another presentation on Unleash Your Potential. I'm Sam Andrews.
Unleash your potential, reach for the stars, electric dreams align. Show them who you are, unleash your potential. Yo, 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 let's go. 1, 2, 3, unleash and grow.